You're watching NRATV with Bill Whittle.
Hi, everybody. Welcome live from Los Angeles. I'm Bill Whittle. This is the Hot Mic Show. And we have to apologize because, once again, as it turns out, Mike had a photo shoot this morning for GQ. And the night before a photo shoot, he insists on brushing his hair, 12,000 times. So he's actually in the hospital with carpal tunnel syndrome, and we expect him back directly. Today's episode is entitled They Are Getting Desperate. And desperation is the word, I think. It's kind of fun to watch. It's also annoying, and we've got some serious issues to talk about, because what the left is doing is they're going now into full court press to make sure that not only people that don't agree with them are suppressed, it's just pretty much they're eliminated. Absolutely just eliminated. So let's see if we can get into that today. Let's start with an idea of how just how extreme the news bias is. We'll come back to the news bias throughout the run of this show, undoubtedly. Just as a quick little reminder, however, the one and only Newt Gingrich had an article on Fox Opinion, and here's what he was talking about in terms of news bias towards President Trump. He's talking about President Macron of France. He was at 64% approval rating in June. Now, less than 2 months later, he's fallen to 36%. That's below Trump. Gingrich also points out that Macron is not alone. British Prime Minister Theresa May earned a 34% satisfaction rate. Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe had a July approval rating of 34.2%, and the Democratic Party in the United States received 38% approval in June. So the next time you hear that Donald Trump's numbers are in the mid-30s and it's a catastrophe and it's unprecedented and there's never been anything like it and what an absolute abject failure, keep those in mind. But there's something else you might want to keep in mind as well, and that's this. Gingrich points out that President Reagan had a similar period during his first term when his approval rating fell to 35%. That's even lower than President Trump's. Reagan bounced back. He carried 49 states in a landslide election, went on to oversee an economic boom, and changed in world history by pushing the Soviet Union into collapse. So history tells us that presidential approval ratings at this point in time are not indicative of a president's future success. Now, whether or not Donald Trump turns into a future success or not is not the point. The point is that they've been trumpeting Donald Trump's approval ratings as if some sort of historic low has been reached in the American Republic. Never before in this great nation of ours has the popular discontent been so widespread, and we're the embarrassment of the earth, except for the fact that the Democratic Party polls the same numbers. Reagan had the same numbers, and virtually every other leader of this modern world of ours has the same numbers. That part they leave out. Not only are the news people showing bias, there's some pretty indicative signs that they're actually starting to go just a little bit barking mad as well. I want to refer to a few tweets by Keith Olbermann. Now, undoubtedly, all of you are saying, who's Keith Olbermann? What's a Keith Olbermann? Well, Keith Olbermann at one time worked on MSNBC, and literally hundreds of people watched him. But now he's got these tweets out, and here he is talking to the President of the United States. You can go yourself, you Nazi F. And here's one on Sheriff Joe Arpaio. There you go. You can go F yourselves, you racist Nazi Fs. This is from Keith Olbermann, you might remember, as a major network news anchor. What's the next one? What have we got here? Any others? I know we had a bunch of them. Olbermann is really pretty much losing his mind. Can we see the next ones just in order, please? Have any others? This kind of profanity is the sign of somebody becoming unhinged. I mean, when you have a public figure using F-bombs and multiple adjectives and combinations of almost physically impossible acts, you're dealing with somebody whose career is over and knows it, and whose sanity is pretty much over as well. So there's all of that. And by the way, Keith, you should really be ashamed of yourself. If everybody you disagree with is a Nazi, you just think for a minute about how the people who died during the real Holocaust felt. Think about those 6 million people who left fingerprint claw marks fingernail claw marks, rather, on the concrete walls of gas chambers by actual Nazis. And just because somebody disagrees with you, they're a Nazi all of a sudden. You got a lot of people to face, Keith, when you get into the next world. And when you do get in the next world, I'll be sure to send you a fan for a little bit of comfort. So there's that whole Oberman thing. And then finally, and what we really want to talk about today is a subject we've covered quite a few times, and that's this idea of silent censorship. The idea of censorship against conservative messages that is done so subtly that it's not detectable, at least until recently. And this is what I mean when I say they're getting desperate. These kind of things have been going on, we're quite sure, for years, but now it's no longer trying to steer people away from conservative messages. It's stamping them out. So let's have a look at a clip here from our friend Craig Strazzeri. He was the marketing director of Prager University. He was on the Hot Mic show a couple of weeks ago, and here's what he had to say about censorship on the part of Facebook and YouTube.
Recently, I went to YouTube's offices in New York. They had invited a lot of conservative organizations out to YouTube, and they specifically said with a smile on their face, if you are having any issues with your channel that you want to bring up, we're here for you. We want to help get them resolved. So I raised my hand and said, well, we are having an issue at PragerU. You're restricting 28 of our videos, which is making it nearly impossible for young people to see them. And there's no reason that they should be restricted. They're educational in nature, very appropriate. The only reason they seem to be restricted are that we are conservative and have conservative ideas. And so their response, again, hid behind algorithms and community flagging. But very recently, so 2 days ago, we got a call from YouTube saying after a manual review, so meaning they had actual people at YouTube rewatch the 28 videos that we appealed as being restricted. After they rewatched them, people at YouTube, I keep saying it because it's actually hard to believe, they said, yes, these videos should be restricted. Young people should not see them. So when we know on Facebook, in particular, that say you have 2 million followers, PragerU has 2 million followers on Facebook. When we post something, it won't go out to all 2 million followers. Facebook will automatically only send it to a certain percentage, and we're told it's between 2 and 3% of our followers organically. So people who have opted in to follow our page and they want to receive our content, even the way now 2 to 3% will see it. Now, I have no doubt, I mean, some of our videos, which will be on a roll, and we had a video on the Electoral College last year with 50 million views on Facebook right after the election, and everyone was talking about the Electoral College with Trump and Hillary. That video was moving and moving and moving. Once it hit 50 million, which is a great number, and we're happy with it, it just all of a sudden stopped. And so we were, you know, the rate of sharing slowed down. Everything really slowed down. So it was odd.
So there he is. That's the director of marketing for Prager University, which is on target, at least was on target, to do 500 million views this year, saying not only that Facebook, that somebody from YouTube surreptitiously called him and said, basically off the record, that yes, people personally just make sure that this has to be 18 or older to watch this video of the Electoral College, for example. But he also said a number that I'll never forget. They have 2 million followers on Facebook. People follow Prager University so they can see Prager University videos. That's why they click like. 2% of the total people that signed up to see those videos actually get them. And it's worse. And I'll tell you why it's worse. We've got two great guests, but before we do, I want to set up the reason why I think there's a form of censorship even worse than not sending it out to these kind of people. This is a clip from a show I do called After Hours at BillWhittle.com. A good friend of mine named Alfonso Rachel, we were talking about this silent censorship, and he brought up a point that I thought was really interesting. We were talking last time, you were telling me how you hadn't heard from any of your friends lately, me included, and you know, you thought, wow, maybe was it, you know, is it my breath? And it turned out that you had done all of these videos, but none of your closest friends on Facebook had seen them because they'd been suppressed by the Facebook algorithms.
Yeah, and you know, and the thing is, you know, and I'm one of those guys, I didn't want to blame Facebook. I don't want to blame Facebook. I don't want to say, oh, well, you know, maybe it's this or maybe it's that. I'm the last person to want to try to blame them for things. But when my friend, and I'm like, maybe people just don't want to watch them. Maybe they just don't want to share them. But I've got friends emailing me snapshots of saying, well, dude, it's not that we don't want to share them. We can't. Because when we try to share them, it'll say, this cannot be shared because it has been deemed spam, or it's been deemed
really?
Sensitive material. They'll send me snapshots saying that they can't even share it.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Holy cow, these people are shameless. This is a point that Alfonso Rachel raised on the show. And I think this is a very, very important point. Basically, what he's saying is, rather than banning the videos, if they just outright banned them, refused to run them, then he'd have something that would have some sizzle to it, right? See the video banned on YouTube, banned on Facebook. They don't ban them. They make the spread, though. They make the reach so small that people assume that the videos are boring, that the videos don't matter, that the videos are not interesting, and the same for the hosts. It's a slow erosion of your credibility and your viewer base, and that's where we are right now. Now, help us break open this thing. We've got a tremendous pair of conservative commentators who are doing unbelievably great good for freedom and smashing up the progressive control machine. Same thing, really. And before we bring them on, I want to play a 20-second clip from their website, rather from their YouTube channel, which is the Viewer's View on YouTube. Take a look at this quick clip from our upcoming guest, Diamond and Silk.
Good day, you all.
Good day.
Just in from headquarters. Hillary Clinton is up in the polls. Take a look.
Diamond and Silk, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies, it's a pleasure to have you on the show. I've been big fans of yours for a long time, and it's finally good to get a chance to talk to you face to face.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Our pleasure. Let's start with something that I've been talking about for quite a long time, and that's this. The left is not used to being challenged. They're not used to having people speaking back. But ladies, the one thing they're absolutely unable to deal with on any way is being laughed at. That is something they cannot handle. They're the serious people that are all about bringing social change to America. And when two ladies like you just come out and openly mock them like that, I think it goes right to their marrow.
Yeah, they get upset about it because we don't fit their status quo. Yeah. We're very different in our views. We have a conservative point of view. You know, as a matter of fact, most Black people have a conservative point of view. They just so happen to vote Democratic because they've been conditioned to. That's right. But, you know, we are voices. We have a conservative voice. We support our president. We support his agenda. And it looks like YouTube is censoring us because of that. It's unfair. It's unfortunate. It's biased. It shows discrimination. And, you know, it has to stop. It's dangerous. It's dangerous. Right. We're all not supposed to have one point of view. We can have a different point of view. Mm-hmm. And that's what makes social media social media. Social media is there to share creative ideas. We're sharing creative ideas. It didn't say you had to be liberal to be on social media. You had to be conservative to be on social media. You could be whatever to be on social media. So it's got to stop one way or another.
Well, right now, what that consists of, ladies, is both YouTube and Facebook as examples are saying, we welcome people of all races, all different colors, different religions, different creeds, different sexual orientations, different religions, all of this. We welcome them all, as long as they all agree with us in terms of what we think, right? That's basically what they're saying. As long as they all agree with us, we're glad to have the diversity.
Well, they're not looking for diversity. Right. They want us to agree with everything that they say. Either you say it this way or not. I think the unfortunate thing is YouTube, even though it's a social media site, they claim it's a private entity, it's open to the public. That's right. And we check that box of their terms and agreement. So we agree to that. And though we are in good standard with YouTube, they still decide what to deem our videos as not suitable for all advertisers. And they thumb it down and they fix it where your fans cannot get to the video. The one thing is, we built that platform. Even though they gave us the platform, we built that one fan at a time. So I think it's unfair. I think it's unfortunate for them to make the decisions for their advertisers instead of letting the advertisers make the decisions based on demographics or where they want to be. Because at the end of the day, if they showing toilet paper, my fans, all of them probably use toilet paper. Everybody use toilet paper. Yes.
You know, that's the interesting point, isn't it? We just, while you're speaking, we ran a little clip produced by YouTube, and it says, we want to be a voice for everybody and introduce people to the world. And when they make that claim and people sign up, as you have, and all the viewers that go and all the, you know, millions and millions of dollars of advertising revenue and so on, you go into Facebook and YouTube with the assumption that what they say is true, that it's just a platform for everybody to speak. But my contention, ladies, is if they are suppressing viewpoints that they personally disagree with and promoting others, I consider that a form of fraud.
It's fraud and
Exactly.
it's discrimination.
Yep.
And I think it's a violation of our civil and political rights because it's an infringement upon them, those rights. It's totally censorship. And it's when we create censorship in our country, now we're going into creating dictatorship.
That's right.
And that's not good. It's not good.
And it's really a big problem because a lot of the videos that they have dumbed down and have deemed as not suitable for all advertisers, they were monetized for the last 2 years. Mm-hmm. All of a sudden this month, they're deemed not suitable for all advertisers. And we know where it's coming from. A lot of times people want to suppress your conservative voices because they don't agree with you. We got all of that. But whatever happened to being able to agree to disagree when we have a disagreement? That's right. That's called diversity in this country.
Well, you're suffering the exact same thing that my friend Alfonso Rachel suffered, and he was having a big impact too. They didn't so much shut down his channel as not promote it or not spread the message the way it should be spread, but they also demonetized him. They basically said, no, you can't get any advertising money on your videos. And I suspect, Diamond and Silk, I suspect that the reason that you and Zoe especially were shut down from any form of revenues and basically are trying to be silenced is because you so effectively just utterly demolish the liberal narrative, and they simply can't have that. Guys like me, you can call racist and sexist and homophobic and Islamophobic and put us in our little bin, and say we don't have to listen to those guys. But two ladies like you who are speaking in such a natural way for so many people. I love the name that you picked for your YouTube channel, The Viewer's View. This instantly destroys everything that the progressive left is trying to sell the American people, and it's been so unbelievably destructive.
Yeah, absolutely. Another point that I would like to make is that, we're two African-American Black women, conservative, Republican, and support our president. Mm-hmm. And it's not Republicans that's trying to keep us down. It's Democrats that's trying to keep us down. These are liberal Democrats, people on the left, that's saying, if you don't talk the way I want you to talk, then I'm going to suppress your voices. And that's the problem. When you climb the ladder, somebody takes the ladder from up under you and make you fall. And that kind of stuff have to stop. If there's opportunities out here for us as African Americans and we use them, it is unfair for liberals to take and pull the ladder from up under you because you're not doing it the way they think you should doing it, or because you're able to go against what they say or debunk the foolishness that they keep going in our country.
And, we have with our petition out for people to go and sign, to go to diamondandsilk.com and sign the petition that we have against YouTube for censoring our voices. We understand that our voice is our power, and we tell people, do not let people suppress your voice. Whenever a door closed, a window open. So Diamond and Silk is here to stay, and we're going to keep talking and spilling the beans just like we're good at doing, and that's telling the naked, nasty truth.
That's right.
The naked, nasty truth. You guys are just awesome. I love you so much. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back and talk about how some of the just the social fabric of America has deteriorated under the left and why it's intentional. We'll be back in 2 minutes with our guest, Diamond and Silk, here on the Hot Mic Show on NRATV.